From now on, we will study about the roles of a verb in a clause. There are 4 roles of a verb in a clause. The first role of a verb in a clause is as a constituent of a clause. There are 4 constituents of a clause: a subject, an object, a complement, and a phrase of a verb. A verb consists of a phrase of a verb. Adverbs to describe the verb in the phrase of a verb. A verb consists of a clause with a subject. A subject and a verb are the premise that the series of words can be considered as a clause. A subject and a verb are minimal necessities. The second role of a verb is the presentation of tense. The tense refers to a difference of 2 points in time. The first standard to compare the other point in time is the present. The present is the standard. A verb reveals the tense that signifies the difference of the point in time between the present when the speaker says the clause and a point in time when the definition of the verb happens. So the present is important because the speaker and the listeners communicate in a conversation of the present. That's the reason why the present is the standard to judge the tense of the clause. And the other point in time to compare with the present, the conversation between the speaker and the listeners happened, is that the definition of the verb happens. The type of tense is classified into 3. The simple tense, the progressive tense, and the perfect tense. The speaker point that the progressive tense and the perfect tense conveys the intention of the speaker to emphasize the definition of the verb. First of all, the simple tense is also classified into 3. The past simple tense, the present simple tense, and the future simple tense, which is judged by the degree of accordance about how close the point in time is with the present. The simple tense, a point in time as an object of comparison with the present. The speaker who applies the simple tense in a clause considers the duration of the time as a point. The point of time is subjective. The speaker. We will study about the simple tense from the past simple tense to the future simple tense. We will deal with the progressive tense and the perfect tense. First, the past simple tense signifies that the definition of the verb happened at a point in the past compared to the present, when the speaker says a clause with a specific form of the verb. The speaker in the past simple tense means the speaker deals with an experience, a condition, or an action happened. So the speaker signifies the difference, the present that the speaker says the clause, and the experience, condition, or action with the form of the verb. The form of the verb to reveal that the clause deals with the past experience, condition, or an action is different with the form of the verb stated with the present tense. For example, there is a clause. I ate a bowl of salad. There is a transitive verb, ate, whose form is converted to fit into the past simple tense because the original form of the verb in the present tense is eat. We can notice that this clause describes the past action of the speaker with the form of the verb ate. Second, the present simple tense signifies that the definition of the verb happens at the same time with the present when the speaker says the clause with the original form or the converted form of the verb to reveal the number of the subject and whether the subject is a participant in the conversation with the speaker. The present simple tense is applied in a clause that the speaker describes the present, a concurrent experience, condition, or action with the point in time that the speaker says the clause at the present. The point is that is the time when the conversation happens. The speaker and the listeners are conscious about the subject of the clause. The consciousness about the subject is revealed in the form of the verb. The speaker and the listeners are more conscious about the subject, who is the participant in the conversation. So, the speaker reveals that the subject of the clause is the participant in the conversation with the original form of the verb. The speaker and the listeners in the conversation are conscious that the subjects that are plural are important than the singular subject. That the number of the subjects are plural and the subject is a participant in the conversation with the speaker and the listeners, or there is an exemplary clause. I eat a bowl of salad. This clause is about the speaker. The speaker is a participant in the conversation. So the transitive verb eat stays in its original form. Before we start to deal with the future tense, we will study about the present tense to describe the future experience, condition, or action. As we know, there are certain that are to happen in the future. We are so sure about the happening of the experience, condition, or action. Like the experience, condition, or action. The equivalence of the certainty of the present and the future experience, condition, or action makes the speaker state the clause. The present simple tense is also applied in a clause to signify that the definition of a verb certainly happens in the future. There is an exemplary clause. The earth revolves around the sun. The speaker assures that the action indicated by the transitive verb revolves happens in the future. So, the exemplary clause is stated in the present tense. Compared to the future experience, condition, or action stated in the present tense, the uncertain experience, condition, or action are expected to happen in the future is stated in the future tense. The future tense implying the uncertainty about the happening is stated with the will. The clause stated in the future tense is with the modal verb will. The modal verb will describes the verb. One of the adverbs, modal verb describes the verb in a phrase of a verb, in a clause. One of the modal verbs, will, also has the trait of the noun, which means expectation. So, the speaker who expects the experience, condition, or action described by the verb to happen in the future applies the word will, the trait of the adverb as a modal verb to describe the verb. The future simple tense signifies the uncertainty of the definition of the verb to happen in the future with the description of one of the adverbs, a modal verb will, ahead of the verb. There is an exemplary clause. Tomorrow will be better than today. The modal verb will describes the be verb. The be verb describes the condition of the subject indicated by the noun tomorrow. With the description by one of the adverbs, the modal verb will, the definition of the be verb, is not true in the present. The description by the modal verb reveals that the definition of the verb the fact that the modal verb describes the definition of the verb The modal verb will also has the trait as a noun with the definition of the expectation. This definition as the trait of a noun remains to one of the adverbs. Modal verb will. So, this clause can be understood as a clause to convey the expectation of the speaker toward the actualization of the definition of the be verb. The past, present, and the future point in time compared with the present in a simple tense can be said as a short period of time, like a second, or as a long period of time, like a year. The speaker determines the point in time. The point in time can be a short period of time, like a second or a minute, or a long period of time, like a year. This is the point. The speaker applies the progressive tense in a clause. For example, I blink my eyes. I describe my action indicated by the verb blink in the present tense. I don't blink. I blink my eyes. So, describe my action to blink with the present tense. The speaker who wants to emphasize that an experience, a condition, or an action lasts for a period of time, the premise that the subject exists applies the progressive tense. The progressive tense consists of a be verb to set the premise that the subject exists in a condition, and a present participle as an adverb to emphasize that the experience, condition, or action of the subject lasts for a period. So, we can notice that the progressive tense describes the condition of a subject. The simple tense describes an experience, a condition, or an action of a subject, but the progressive tense always describes the condition of the subject because the period of time is on the premise that the subject exists. The existence of the subject is described by the be verb to consist a phrase of the verb applied in the progressive tense. There is an exemplary clause. I am praying that everyone is happy. The be verb describes the existence of the speaker, and the present participle praying describes the condition of the speaker with the condition. The original form of the present participle praying is the verb pray. The transitive verb pray describes a condition of the existing speaker. So, the present participle as an adverb describes the condition of the speaker. This clause is stated in the progressive present tense because the be verb describes the existence of the speaker and the present participle praying describes the condition of the speaker. The present participle praying has the trait of the adverb to describe the definition of the be verb with the emphasis on that the condition of the speaker lasts for a period. We can notice that the form of a verb with ing at the letter of the verb means that the definition of the verb lasts for a period. When the converted form of the verb with the ing functions as a noun, the converted form of the verb with letters ing is called as a gerund. When the converted form of the verb with 3 letters ing is applied as an adverb or an adjective, the converted form of the verb with 3 letters ing is called as a present participle. The converted form of the verb with 3 letters ing is that the definition of the original form of the verb lasts for a period. The perfect tense is applied in the clause to describe the experience of a subject. To make the definition of the past participle happen more than once. The point is that the experience refers to an experience, a condition, or an action happened or happening more than once. The speaker who describes the definition of the past participle happened more than once should state about the entire period to include every experience during the period from the point in time when the initial experience starts to the point in time when the speaker declares the last experience ends in the clause. Inevitably indicates a period of time. So the speaker to state a clause in the perfect tense sets the premise to deal with the period. There are 2 exemplary. The first one and the second one are stated with the different past participle gone and been. The transitive verbs go and be are converted to the past participles gone and been. To describe the intransitive verb have, to describe the experience of the speaker in each clause stated in the present perfect tense. In the first exemplary clause, the past participle gone describes the period of time. And in the second exemplary clause, the past participle been describes the period of time of the speaker. The speaker describes the experience that the speaker acts with the orientation toward the object indicated by the noun Paris more than once until the present, when the speaker declares that the experience is complete. The root form of the past participle gone is that the verb go. The definition of the intransitive verb go describes an action. The listeners can think of the experience of the speaker moving on a way like one of the transportation toward the object with this clause. In the second clause, the past participle been describes the intransitive verb have. The past participle being describes the form of the past participle being is the be verb to describe the existence of a subject. This clause is also about the existence of the speaker for a period. The speaker describes the experience that the speaker ever exists with the orientation toward the object indicated by the noun Paris more than once until the present, when the speaker declares that the experience is complete. The reason why the two exemplary clauses deal with the orientation toward the same object indicated by the noun Paris is the preposition to. The subject of the preposition to orients to an object of the preposition. Compared to the first exemplary clause, this clause conveys more inclusive intention because the existence of the speaker is the primary premise of the action, indicated by the listeners can think of the existence that the speaker with a static or kinetic condition orients to the object. The third exemplary clause, I had been in Seoul, present. But the experience dealt with in this past perfect tense is declared to be completed. The point in time that the speaker declares the experience is complete is revealed with the intransitive verb had. The first and second exemplary clauses are declared by the speaker at the present when the conversation with the speaker happens. This third exemplary clause deals with a period of time from the far point in the past to the close point in the past. So, the completion of the experience of the speaker has the gap with the point in time that the speaker who declares the experience of the subject from the past point in time to the close past point in time. At the close past point in time signifies that the experience is finished at the close past point in time with the form of the intransitive verb had. The speaker states this clause in the past perfect tense.